All right, White Shark Media, thank you guys so much again for hosting us. I got my badge, so I think I'm part of the clique. We're part of the team now, right?
It's official.
It's official, 100%. It's good to be back in the country. I'm excited for the training we have on the value proposition. We're doing objection handling. We're talking updates on home construction, home services.
I have never been here before, but the people, the country, everything is beautiful and wonderful, and the folks at White Shark Media really know how to do it.
Well, look, we're excited. We're gonna kick off the next 2 days with some really deep internal meetings, and we're gonna learn a little bit more about the lay of the land. Like, this is your first time here, so you're gonna meet everybody and just be prepared. It's gonna be a whirlwind, and I'm excited. So stay tuned for more, right? So what ended up happening is that people's their work machine became their personal machine. And that is where we're starting to see things kind of shift a bit. How people search differently. We're gonna see that there's been shortened lifetime customer decision journeys. The buy cycle is shortened. People know exactly what they're looking for. If you guys look at your auction insights or the search term reports, you're gonna notice that they're a bit different last year than they were 3 years ago, because people have the time now to sit at home and do the research. Okay, so in the past, let's say 5 years ago, generally the best case scenario for that was 90 days. 90 days from start your search to drive that car off the lot. When COVID hit, that 90 days went from 90 to 30 days. So that 30 days, really shortened how people were activating against other products that require a bit more thought, research. Digital marketing is hot, it's sexy, it's cool, it's now. It's been here for a couple years. The pandemic created another situation where, again, when we're adding one more device to your home, people were being hit a lot more with paid advertising than they were ever in the past. Again, think 4 trillion minutes. So what we're seeing from an industry perspective, that the investment that's going into marketing channels, the one that's growing the fastest and is gonna supersede what was previously there, is search engine marketing. People couldn't go into stores. The best thing they could do was to buy online and then pick up in the parking lot, because it was the safest opportunity, it was the safest engagement. So all the advertisers that took on that chance, that copy, they ended up winning. And so, again, this is an opportunity for you to get creative, right? You get a seat at the table for their business, because you're not just managing how they look, how they message online. You're partnering to keep them in business so that they can continue to maybe branch out. You're managing a very important part of their business, and you need to help them realize that. For those of you looking at the numbers down here, this starts from February 2020, right before we were given the news that everyone had to go home, all the way up until February, right? So what you see here at the very top are the cost per clicks. And you see where they do spike up. It's typically when you can line it up against some of the parts of the timeline, the COVID timeline, where the variants were much stronger, where we had to either be inside. And so we found that these competitive peaks, people took advantage of them, right? And what we saw is that it didn't go down, so it marginally increased, right? So that means more people got into the marketplace. More times than not, these people were only advertising on Google. And then when the pandemic hit, the smart agencies sold them into a place that nobody really takes advantage of, and it's the Microsoft ads place. I know you guys all know this, but when you're targeting, you can do location, you can do sex, you can do age, and you can do, what's the other one? Smart device. Your advertiser tells you, like, well, fine, let's just advertise in New York or Los Angeles or Chicago. You need to press them, yeah, but what else does your audience look like? Because we have the keyword strategy, we have the location strategy, but what does your audience look like? Who's the one buying your product? And if they don't know, then you really have to push them to trust you on this, because you're gonna help them dial that in. 67% of home and construction shoppers are women. That's huge, that's huge. 88% of home and construction shoppers are 35 and over. So what this tells me is that if I can dial up to be present when in front of this audience, I have to. And when I'm looking at who's buying, that makes total sense. Somebody who's 35 or older is probably a professional, probably has a family, probably thinking has a little bit more disposable income. So if your advertiser is conscious or cost conscious, they say, fine, I have $10,000, put $2,000 on Microsoft because I don't know if it's gonna work. You have to be smart with how you spend that, and you wanna return that investment. So when you return that investment, you prove to them it's worth it to spend more. So this is why we wanna make sure we can get in front of that right audience, right? So again, you need to remind them that we can get in front of these people and we need to know, again, what they look like. Okay, customers under 35 are more inclined to be in market for home decor, while those older than 35 skew to home improvement. So going back to what I was just saying, someone who probably doesn't have the financial capability yet to purchase a home, they are likely to look at the secondary type of services that vertical lens is, how do you make it look pretty? Yes, you can't tear this wall down, you can't put it in a whole new electrical system, but you can make it look good. By making it look good, you can buy a new couch, you can get a new television, so it's sort of thinking about what that audience looks like, right? So again, here we've broken it out in terms of like how they fall against some of these sub-verticals. So again, when we're talking home improvement, home and garden, there's a lot more that goes into that, and we have that data now because we were really diligent about that period in time of 2020 up until the last few months, right? I mean, we're not done with it yet, but the last few months, the last 2 years gave us a lot of information about this remote work economy, the hybrid work economy, and what they're interested in. So if you have an advertiser who sells mattresses or bedding or other home furnishing or pet supplies, now's a good time to talk to them about doing more on Microsoft if they're doing some stuff or if they're not doing anything. As you know, the cookie's going away. So how are you preparing your advertiser to deal with that? How are you working with your publishers to make sure you stay ahead of that? This is what we're doing now, right? We are finally looking at the whole Microsoft ecosystem and looking at where does advertising make sense? Where is it natural? You saw that, again, we've updated it. We've learned a lot of how people are behaving and searching. So at the very bottom, the toolbar, it's moved. It looks a little different, but you can still search. You can search on the Edge browser and you can search on msn.com, and the experience is going to be the same. And they want to make sure that they can insert advertising where it makes sense. They're not going to insert it on Word or Excel while you're in the middle of a pivot table. They're not going to do that. So we just want to make sure that when we're leveraging what our advertisement placement looks like, it makes sense, it's not disruptive, and it's actionable. We purchased Xandr, so now we're going to be playing in the display space and the connected TV. We are starting to partner with other local companies that can give us more breadth for our native play, which is our in-market audiences, our audience play, the Microsoft Audience Network. When we're looking at native channels and the attribution modeling, what we're finding is that actually multi-touch is growing when it comes to the type of conversion. So we're starting to really leverage more of our partnership ambition, partnership mode of the business, and it just makes sense. The home and construction shopper simultaneously navigate through numerous journeys. And again, going back to that conversation we were having, where they start the journey isn't always where they end. So let's just remember that. Even people are very loyal to their brands, but sometimes throughout that journey, remember that person who wants to buy that Honda van, that 30 days, at some point during their workday, they're gonna forget that they're searching on Edge, or they won't care anymore because they know exactly what they're looking for. They just want the right results to show up. And if the right results are showing up on both, who cares where they convert? Without going too much into detail, here at the very high level, area rugs, very general. You would consider sort of something that someone wants. They have an intention on what they want their home to look like, so they want to buy something like that. They don't know the brand. This is where they're starting. Throughout the day, they use productivity apps, they check their emails, they attend conference calls. Maybe it's 11:30, they're thinking about what they're gonna have for lunch at 12:15, so that's maybe 45 minutes in their day that gives them an opportunity to deal with stuff that they're gonna do on Thursday or Saturday. That's the world we live in, people multitask. So the customer journey, and again, just going back on some of the things that I touched on earlier, awareness. Awareness is super important, right? And when we go back to that slide from 2019 about the investments that we're seeing against media channels, search engine marketing is really, really important. But they can't search for you if they don't know who you are. So in a lot of ways, you also have to be present before they know that they want this product, before they know they need the service. If you don't know what you're looking for, you're not gonna start automatically knowing right away once you get the idea to search for that. That effect is still the same universally, that psychological effect of creating that demand before they know it, or creating that sort of seed, planting that early on, is still relevant. It's still what we know to be true. So now we're gonna go back up 10,000 feet and talk about the Microsoft network. Where we are in the United States, we're still 37% market share. That's 1 in 3 PC searches are done on Bing. So full stop, that's where we drop the mic. No questions, ifs, ands, or buts, right? The cheat sheet, what our audience looks like. We're split 50-50, man and female. 50% are under the age of 45. The other 50% are over. It's pretty straightforward. So depending on who you're talking to, this could be really important. Again, asking them, what does your target audience look like? Easy, they're 28 to 35. They don't own a home, but they love decor. Great. Because 50% of Microsoft audience is under 45, and we can get to that group specifically. 3 in 4 business machines are PCs. Over 1 billion devices are running Windows 10, and now with the upgrade of Windows 11, that's going to continue to grow. They have people who search and convert on our network are 32%. They have 32% more buying power than people who search on Google. But when you're talking about expensive decor that requires a big more investment, you want to make sure that they're advertising on this. Because again, when they buy, they're more likely to buy the plus or the supreme version of it. And then again, when we're talking about income, 33% have an income higher than 85K. So the people who search on our network have about 15K beyond that and then some. So, okay, all right, advertising reaching more people globally. So search partners, this is where we're advertising. This is our core, bread and butter. Bing, Edge, Windows, Skype, MSN, Cortana, Outlook, Yahoo, AOL, and then these are some of our search partners. You've seen this. Take a picture of it, because again, when somebody asks you like where, they're like, okay, I trust you because my phone is still ringing. It's great. Now you're telling me to do Microsoft advertising. Where do people search? Bing? No, they search on the Edge browser too. They also search on Cortana, MSN, Yahoo, DuckDuckGo, right? And so these are good ways for you to challenge some of those things, right? There's a lot of stereotypes and preconceived notions. This is a good way to just say, you know what, that's old. This is the truth. This is what we're working with. All right, so we just finished wrapping up day 1. Almost actually, we have one more training. This training right now, we just finished massive. It was with a fulfillment team. We did an objection handling team, team talk, team conversation. It was great. Everybody participated, and we saw who was paying attention. And we talked about the value prop as well, updated folks on a little bit about what we saw in the last 2 years. Awesome insights and awesome questions. So yeah, we're really excited. We have a conversation with the sales team in about 40 minutes, and I'm gonna grab some water, and then we're gonna hit it back up again.